Jeremy Hill. Welcome back to the big time, Jeremy. He's kicked at the Hoskin Elliott. It's a winter classic. Collingwood are on top for a reason.
Hello and welcome to Thursday Lines. I'm your host, Luke O'Brien, aka OB. Thursday Lines is brought to you by Little Birdie TV, topsport.com.au, Punting Form and Comics Lounge. We say welcome, MG. Big week in sport, mate. Have you slept at all?
Sleeping's optional. There's no need to sleep. You can doze. Power naps are good these time of the year, but plenty on, going around the clock and loving it.
That's good. As we say, welcome to Toprope up there in Orange. And Toprope, have you thawed out?
Yeah, a bit cold over here last week. Got down to minus 10.5 degrees. The feels like temperature last Wednesday. So, but I'm a bit like MG. I'm always up and about. Sleep's optional. Don't mind being bleary-eyed. Just trying to fit in watching sport, betting on sport, the occasional playing sport.
Beautiful, and he's looking nice and fresh. We'll stick with you there, Toprope. Bit happening in the NRL. Obviously, you've got a captain of a club that wants to walk out, but it's not allowed to let go. You've got a star fullback abusing a referee and getting 3 weeks, and then you've got another NRL player in the court pleads guilty for doing the wrong thing. What he's doing?
Where do you want me to start? Just a week in rugby league. We'll start with turn up. We'll start from the top. Once out. Has wanted out for a while. Usually when players will walk out of a club 2 years out of a contract, you kind of generally solve it at the club. It's a bit hard to. He's got a pretty fair list of grievances, including no one showing up to his to celebrate his 300th game from the club. While coaches from other clubs showed up, so that's a fair indication of where he's at. They've done nothing around him. He says he wants to return to Queensland. That may be an excuse, but this was a bit like Archduke Franz Ferdinand getting shot before World War One, just a pretense. He wants out. Got nothing to do with the new coach, but the new coach is helping, Chad Flanagan, aka Renowned Blah. So I anticipate he will be let go. I don't know if it'll be before the end of the year or not, but you won't be at the Dragons next year. But Dragons doing everything they can to try and leverage it, to try to get a player. They're a club that is talent deficient. They are last on the ladder. They are going nowhere. So I don't blame them to try to get someone. They should be trying to get someone. If the Titans are trying to get in for a couple of years, they should be trying to get a Jaden Campbell, or should be trying to get someone who's on the fringes there. So it would start for them. So I think that's only fair. Reece Walsh, pretty clear cut. I think he went pretty hard at Chris Butler. Said he swat Patrick Carrigan, but in a hearing that seriously lasted longer than the Lindsay Chamberlain case, it was I think maybe the longest hearing in judiciary history, 4.5 hours. They found him guilty, 3 weeks. I know MG thinks a bit harsh, but probably a bit light on for mine. But considering he was sent off in Origin for being a grub and has continued his grubbery, it might shut him up for a while. So no arguments there.
And just on Welsh, he's obviously going to miss Origin 3. Early contender to replace him in the number 1 Queensland jumper.
Ponga, if he wants it, and he wants to play, kind of sees focusing on club football for the rest of the year. Whether Billy Slater calls them with the series over, I'm not sure. Otherwise, it'll be AJ Russell from the Titans. Yep.
And then obviously Dylan Brown in a little bit of hot water after a nightclub incident.
Yeah, indefensible, particularly the claim from his lawyers that 2 weeks ago said CCTV footage shows nothing, and 2 weeks later pleading guilty. So everyone get the story straight on that one. I'd be similar to see what the NRL does here. What we haven't really seen a lot of lately with this fault stand down rule that's come into place was players are rarely pleading guilty. So, they're finding their punishments and being stood down on, aka Jack DeBellum. But Brown has pleaded guilty, so it'll be interesting to see what the NRL does in terms of how long they're suspending, if anymore. I expect they will. So, not a great look for the NRL, that one. That one was pretty bad. And you might miss another big story there as well. That'd be Jarrett Hayne in jail. Not a Parramatta player, in jail. Got fleeced out of $800,000 in some cryptocurrency scam in Coombe jail. So, played that well.
So he's still kicking goals in jail.
He manages to climb new debts, Jarrett Hayne. So, well done to him. But of course, he's probably not considered an NRL player, probably more a rugby union / NFL player.
Absolutely, yeah, they've certainly washed their hands of him. And MG, another big week in AFL Hall of Fame night. Definitely the best night on the calendar. Some of the stories that you hear, some fantastic inductees, sort of our vintage: Mitchell, Enright, Bartel, Mark Williams, Michael Aish, obviously a South Australian great. It's a fantastic night on the calendar.
Yeah, I think it's the AFL's premier night. I think a lot of good judges say it is. Had a few people that actually got a ticket to go to the event. But yeah, the stories and absolute legends, the CVs of when they put up of Mitchell and Bartels and even Enright speak for themselves. And yeah, I enjoyed Mark Williams. I thought his stories are unbelievable, following on from his dad. So yeah, it's well worth a watch, and I've actually watch the replay as well. So no, it was a very good night.
And Bruce McAvaney, if you haven't heard that speech, he's just infectious, and the passion, and just absolutely loved it. Goal kicking again continues to rear its ugly head. I think a couple of bad beats in the AFL stings this week cost by some inaccurate goal kicking.
Yeah, it's getting, it's always a frustration, but it's getting beyond a joke from mine. I don't understand how clubs just, I don't know, they either don't take it seriously, they don't get professional coaches, and they don't, whether it's sports science, they keep using it as an excuse, but how the forwards just can't kick goals from we're only talking about the set shots from easy 20, 30 metres out and stuff like that. Now they've got 30 seconds to kick. Hasn't made an ounce of difference, has it? They always used to use the excuse that they were out of breath and stuff like that. It's obviously a fast-paced game, and now they get 20, 25 seconds to regather themselves and stuff, and it hasn't made a difference. So guys are getting paid up to $1 million, some of these forwards, and can't kick from easy ranges. Yeah, so we saw on the weekend that Melbourne definitely cost themselves the win against Geelong with poor kicking, and Adelaide, even though they got one of the best in the business, continued to kick poorly. So.
Well, he kicked well, Taylor.
Yeah, he did. The rest of the team didn't.
That's right. Yeah, so maybe he needs to pass on some tips as we look at the scores for round 15. Great game on Thursday night last week. That's a huge game for Geelong. Huge win in the scheme of things. And then your Lions just getting it done.
Yeah, it was. Kicked off pretty good. The Geelong-Melbourne game, I thought it was a pretty good standing game since it rained both the second and the third quarters there. So the scoring was a bit lower, but I think there's two top-notch sides, two last premiers going at it. So, yeah, if Melbourne had kicked a bit straighter, they might have nudged the win there. But, Geelong were very good, especially losing Cameron early as well. They were able to readjust and get the job done. So, yeah, Melbourne have got some issues. They'd want to beat the Giants this week. Yes, Brisbane, the Mighty Lions, might have just overrated that tip last week with one of the bets of the year. But, yeah, kept going with the job. And I still thought they were cheap even at the close at -5.5. I couldn't understand the betting in that game. And if they'd kicked straight, I think that score flooded St Kilda.
100%.
I thought that should have been closer to maybe 50 or 60 points the way they played. So, yeah, it was a bit of a misjudge. And speaking of big margins, it was just embarrassing almost, the West Coast effort. May as well have not jumped on the plane. Sydney, you don't often see, you very rarely see 200 points kicked, but 170-point margin, I think it was the second biggest.
Yeah, second or third biggest. Yeah, absolutely.
So right up there. Next game, Freo bounced back after being deplorable the week before, and Essendon were almost the opposite as well. So that was a good win, much needed by Freo, very disappointed by Essendon. They were poor. Very good game. Collingwood-Adelaide. Collingwood win another close one.
Cracking game.
They looked like they had the game shot to pieces in the second quarter, and then Adelaide come out and kick 7 goals to nothing in the third. Then Collingwood were able to just find a way. Adelaide were probably stiff in the end. They should have got maybe they should have got a free kick, which the AFL did admit to, which is rare, that they missed one, which their captain would have had a shot from goal about the 40.
Well, he wouldn't have taken it because he would have been offered the blood rule.
Well, that's true.
So I think Riley O'Brien was the closest player, so that's no certainty. But yeah, definitely should have been a free kick. Umpire was slightly out of position, and umpires admitted, the AFL's admitted that.
Yeah, so Adelaide very good. They're going much better than they've just missed a few close ones. Again, bad kicking was more the result than the last free kick anyway. If they'd kicked straight, they would have won the game. So one that Collingwood got away with there, and then Hawthorn very disappointing. And then Gold Coast bounced back after being poor. So yeah, smashing there.
That's right. As we look at the stats for round 15, the favourites again, 6 from 6. That's 12 out of 12 the last 2 weeks, MG. So definitely the bookies getting a bit of a smashing there. Covered the total 5 of 6. The overs were just, I 1 of 6 are very low in the home team, 5 of 6 again. As we look at the season stats, it's still the favourites and the home teams probably getting it done there.
Yeah, I think the over total for the week was, it was probably distorted by only being 6 games, but 2 of them were very stiff not to go over. They were both within a goal. So that was a bit distorted. But, yeah, the bookies haven't had much joy in the last 2 weeks with the favourites and the covers as well being very strong. As
we look at the NRL results for round 17, top rope, anything really catch your eye there?
Yeah, well, there was some fair smashings and a week of not like upsets, but kind of teams really underperformed. Warriors 48 had in with their Dragons. It was an performance on guys. Jack Bird's performance was probably the worst individual performance of anyone all year. Rightfully dropped this week. Eels smashed the Dolphins 48-20, not really indicative of where that game was at. They had 42-4 at half time, and we're going to put 80 on, which was incredible. Took the foot off the accelerator there, and Dolphins fought back well. Panthers beat the Knights. No Origin players, so another disappointing result for the Knights there, 20-12. Storm ground one out over the Seagulls, 24-6. Tighten the Broncos, surprisingly low scoring, but Broncos they fell from the top 4 to missed the 8 last year, and they are in danger of doing something similar again. They're looking dreadful at the moment. Cowboys beat the Rabbitohs 31-6. Big upset. Rabbitohs were very, very poor. I don't know how you kept playing Blake Taff up there, the back there. OB and the Raiders Roosters was unquestionably the game of the round, 20-18. Raiders led 18-0, held on. Joe Manu was inspiring, training in the back, but the big story of that one was James Tedeschi's poor form continues. So, it was a fascinating week, and all in the back of, the saga of the New South Wales Origin team and kind of how that's kind of going to play out over this week. So it's overhanging a lot that's going on right now.
As we look at the stats for round 17, 4 of 7 favourites at 57%, covered the line at 4 of 7, the over total 2 of 7, and the home team 2 of 7. As we look as well, the favourites 81 from 128 at 63%, and the home team 71 of 122 at 58%. Probably the pick of those stats there, top rope.
Yeah, we're kind of not a lot to be taken out of last week. We've seen favourites winning, probably not at a rate that you expect, but we're seeing a lot more minuses staying in the car. Only 4 or 7 last week. We're starting to see some minuses come up as the bad team kind of really fall off the pace.
As we look at the other sports in the global wrap for this week, the Australian women's cricket team have won by 89 runs. Ash Gardner, the out-and-out star there, 8 second innings, wickets, 12 for the match. And the men's just sent in on a supposed green top seaming round, and the Poms only took 3 wickets up until the dying stages of the day's play, and Australia finished 5 for 339. Live betting continues each and every night at topsport.com.au. At the golf, Keegan Bradley wins the Travellers 23 under by 3 shots. This week is the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit, Michigan. Any tips there, MG or top rope?
I'm getting around Tom Kim this week as my big play. Tom Kim and Hideki Matsuyama it's already going pretty hard on, but Tom Kim has a great record on Donald Ross courses. He won the Wyndham at Sedgefield. So I will be riding Tom Kim pretty hard. I can get about $23 on Tom Kim. So
I think it's about $19 at topsport.com.au. So I think someone has listened to you and they've reeled him in a couple of digits.
This might be the first place. So I'll put that tip out on OB. So they may have already got to it.
Anyone for you, MG?
No, looking forward to watch. It's a pretty good field though. Top rope. It's just looking at the leaderboard there. The top 6 or 7 are stacked, so should be good viewing.
You don't get a pleasure touring anymore, do you? MG with this kind of need to make sure the tournaments are looking good. You kind of even in an off week like this without the elevated status, you're still getting, taking feet out, Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler. Yeah. Justin Thomas. So it's there's never a bad field these days.
And good news for sporting fans that Melbourne will host the 2028 President's Cup at Kingston Heath. Once again, the sporting capital of the world just delivers down here in Melbourne. Wimbledon starts next week. MG, I know you're all over this. As we have a look at the men's odds, Novak Djokovic, $1.66 to win his 24th Grand Slam title. Carlos Alcaraz at $4.50. And then it is 20s, 22 and beyond for Medvedev, Sinner, Zverev, Rune, Korda, Kyrgios, and Taylor Fritz at $51.
Yeah, it just highlights how downhill the men's comp's gone now that Federer and Nadal have moved on. There's just no competition really left for Djokovic going onto the grass. So, yeah, he's just has to play it out, I guess. Very short quote at 166, and to a chance to get his 24th major will be unbelievable, really. But yeah, there's not a lot of depth, and you're just going to invest in your man Kyrgios again at the $46.
He hasn't said he's out yet. I haven't heard from him, so I'll just I'll wait for the text to come through from the camp. But
the most you've seen him play this year is on the tennis series
on the Xbox. As we look at the women's, a little bit closer in the betting, Swiatek at $4.10, is at Georgi at $5, Robakina, last year's winner, at $5.70, Sabalenka at $6.25, Kitova and Mukova at $11 and $16, and Jabeur at $16 as well. So, I need to work on my pronunciation, that's for sure.
Toprope, we should have brought Nikki back to pronounce these.
Unbelievable scenes, you know. I didn't even follow the issue with some of this stuff, but
yeah. I must admit, I didn't get this far down the road, so I probably should have had a look at this.
I didn't know if he was swearing at me then or not. Toprope was going to give him 2 or 3 weeks suspension. That was a butcher job. If I was a teacher, he would have got 2 out of 10 for those.
Who's was it? Georgi? Who's she? Never heard of her.
She's Italian, so you can maybe have another go at it in your Italian accent.
All I know is Swiatek. She'll win it. She's at $4.10, so stick it up your jumper, the rest of you.
Yeah, no, it's 4 in the betting there that are pretty concentrated, and then it kind of gets out pretty quickly. Grass is obviously a different surface, so yeah, I wouldn't be going too far away from the defending champion last year, Robakina. I think she's got the game, she's got the confidence, and the players around her. Probably Sabalenka's got a big game as well on grass, but yeah, I'd probably around that 570. I think on Top Sports would be my pick at this stage.
Oh, well, glad the global wrap's over for another week. I'll work on the pronunciation. Hopefully Wimbledon, hopefully a couple of those girls' favourites get knocked out, and Smith and Goff and a few Williams gets going. But right now it's time for Thursday Lines, brought to you by topsport.com.au. Family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. As we go through the AFL Premiership prices, I know how to pronounce these. Magpies, how am I going? Magpies $3.50, the Power at $4.20, the Demons $5.50, the Lions $6, and the Cats have come back into $10. So they're probably the 5 front runners. I don't think anyone else can win it outside of them.
Yeah, no, there's Geelong are strengthening their price again. They got a good run home, a lot of games at home. So it's how far they can get up the ladder. Top 4 is probably unlikely. The top 4 kind of looked locked in, although Melbourne's looking a little shaky at this stage. They're not going as well as what you think, but yeah, it kind of stretches out. But yeah, I don't know. Port Adelaide, obviously 11 straight. They're going unbelievable. Brisbane around the mark. Collingwood are rightly so. So yeah, not too many changes. If you're looking at one at value at this stage, I'm not having completely given up on the Tigers yet. If they can sneak in there, they may create damage, but. Jeez. History shows you can't really win from the bottom half, so it's going to be tough.
I think only the Cats can probably win it from the bottom half. That's all. That's all I think. As we look at the round 15 AFL Stings, 2 from 2 for the MG. 10.5 units bets plus 1.12, and the profit on turnover 10.67, and the season just keeps on ticking along. Profit on turnover 7.83%. Good to get a couple over the line there.
Yeah, 2 and 2. It was a bit of a quiet week with only 6 matches. Unfortunately, as we stated in the run through, Melbourne were a bit disappointing in their kicking. They could have maybe pinched that. So I was back Melbourne. Brisbane, the highlight of the week, they got the job done, and unfortunately, one of the totals had to sweat out the last 3 minutes and couldn't find a goal. So Anyway, that's how it rolls. They all go pretty close, and sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But yeah, just a very slight profit to pay for dinner. That was about it.
That's fine. Now the bye season, the 3-week silly season's over. It's a full complement of games, so it's great to have that back. As we look at the NRL Premiership prices, the Panthers at $3.20, the Broncos still there at $5, the Rabbitohs $6, and the Storm $6.50. And then double figures the rest: Eels, Sharks, Warriors, Cowboys, Raiders. Top rope, you look at that, it's probably the Panthers and probably the Storm are the two you'd want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, well, the Bunnies are out the gate at the moment, and they're doing very well with third premiership favourites. They're 8th on the ladder. Face a pretty critical game this week, so it's very, very congested at the top of the ladder. But yeah, it's surprising that they're still third favourites. The Broncos have been very disappointing. I guess the feeling is that they might get down, not down, definitely arrives. They're clear-cut second favourites. I agree with the Storm. I think they are sneaking in the arena. And wonder what Warriors, with a pretty easy running, $17, they've been off the map. They are beating teams left, front, and centre. They're playing great football. They're a huge home ground advantage. I don't think they can win it, but I think they get a position we can lay them at a much shorter price later on. So $17, certainly be a go again.
As we might just skip over the old Top Ropes package for this week. The old 1 of 6. Doesn't look for great reading. Looks like Brad Fittler's had a bit of a go at this one. But anyway, we'll be onwards and upwards. And just a reminder, if you haven't signed up for the GGOA or the AFL Stings, there's plenty of value there. And we're going to come good at some stage, aren't we, Top Rope?
If you haven't signed up, thank God you didn't sign up last week. That's what you can think. So probably your day of your choice. And now's the time to get on board. It was an unmitigated disaster last week. So, look, I probably should have pulled back a little bit during this period where players are in and out, all that kind of stuff. So makes it difficult. We saw that with the Panthers game. There's late 5 withdrawals, but, that's just the way it goes. People pay us their tips for doing their best. So, got another couple of weeks of this, and then we're onwards, upwards to the round of the finals. AFL
round 16. It kicks off tonight, MG, where the Lions do host the Tigers. The Lions $1.35, the Tigers $3.20, the line minus 18.5, over under 176.5.
Yeah, good, very good game. Looking forward to this one tonight. OB, 3rd v 12th, but I think Richmond are a slightly better side than where their ladder position at the moment. But tough trip up to the Lions. They defend the Gabba well. They're 6-0 this year at the Gabba, so it's near impossible to win. I think Richmond can be competitive. They're 14-3 in the head-to-head, so they've got a very good recent record over Brisbane. But yeah, tough place to live. I kind of found it tough to find a bet in the line. I think you can make a case for either side, so I'm not going to either tip you in or talk you out of either way. I think no Zorko for Brisbane in the player movement, and Richmond get kind of 1-for-1 Hopper in and lose Prestia. Yeah. So I don't think there's too much on that front. I think the way the buys have been going at this stage, outside when two sides have played each other, it's 0-8 coming off the buy. So that's what faced Richmond this week. Also going to Brisbane. So it's hard to make a case for either. I'm looking forward to the game. Both are in winning form. 2 in a row Brisbane, 3 in a row Richmond. So should be a good contest. Pretty keen on the over total here though, OB. So just thought they started a little cheap. It was in the 170s, which seems high. It's moved up to 176, 177. So we've already got the best of it by 4 or 5 points. The last 7 have gone over. So I'm pretty keen there'll be points. The weather looks good. There shouldn't be too slippery up there tonight. So looking forward to this one.
Storm host the Panthers on Friday night under the roof at Marvel Stadium. The Storm $1.77, the Panthers $2.05, the line minus 1.5, over under 38.5. Which way are you leaning here, Top Rope?
I'm leaning down in a very dim view of the Women's Soccer World Cup being played in Australia. I've no problem with the grounds that are being used. The World Cup is actually on. It doesn't start for another 3 bloody weeks. I'm not sure why the Storm been forced down on Amy to play in that monstrosity, the Dome. Probably got a bit in Melbourne here. No Cleary still. They'll get the rest of their players back, the Panthers. But Storm have covered 6-24. There's a real good spot for them. They've covered 8 of 11 when they're favoured by less than a try. 11 of 15 off conceding 6 or fewer. So don't mind them this week. We ain't too involved here, but they're definitely in the Storm.
And I think also the Gabba's in use this weekend because of the Soccer World Cup, which we'll get to shortly. But FIFA, I think, going into lockdown for 3 weeks pre-tournament, which is caused a few headaches. But anyway, we'll keep pushing on. Sydney and the Cats, Friday night football up at the SCG. The Swans $1.92, the Cats $1.88, the line 1.5, over under 168.5.
Yes, very good betting game, and also should be a cracker again. So good start for the fixturing for the AFL on the Thursday into the Friday. This is actually the grand final replay. And hopefully it's a better outcome for Sydney than the last two clashes against Geelong. They played earlier this year in round 6 and got absolutely toasted by 93 points. So hopefully Sydney doesn't, the trend doesn't continue. They're at home this week. They unfortunately are off a 6-day break compared to Geelong's 8, but they did come off a very soft, well, not even a game really, was it? 170-point win over West Coast. So more of a training run. So they might be the fresher of the two actually going into this week. The betting's actually come for the Swans here. It opened Geelong favourite -4. Now it's back to Geelong just 1. So this game's almost getting back to parity here. So it should be a cracking betting contest for Friday. I can't tip you into one here. I think the betting's about right. Should see Franklin come back and also maybe McCartan for the Swans. And Geelong will get back 2 keys in Dangerfield and Radigalia. So both getting pretty much full strength now. The only stat for me here is the last 5 head-to-head have gone over, so we've dipped into the total already at the 163. It's gone up 5 points to the 168. Probably getting a bit out of value now, but if you've got the tip early, if you follow the Stings, then pretty happy to be in the over.
Interesting to see what they do with Franklin when McLean, McDonald and Amati have played together. They've played twice this year. It's combined a winning total of 253 points.
Yeah.
So we'll be very interesting to see how they sort of structure up. Anyway, we'll move on. The Broncos and the Dolphins are doing battle at the Gabba on Saturday night. The Broncos $1.34, the Dolphins $3.25, the line -9.5, over under 46.5.
Yeah, I like the over in this one. It's when you plenty of points. It's only 30 when they played last time, but last 2 weeks, the Dolphins have conceded 58 and 48. Over's 4-0 and the Dolphins off a double-digit loss, 5-0 and off conceding 30+. Over 19 and 10 when the Broncos off conceding a fewer. That one, the Dolphins, they've been backed. They're in there was a lot of 9.5, but give the Dolphins a chance here. So everything's small on the plus, but the over is the better.
Yeah, the Dolphins need to get back to their early season winning ways, that's for sure. Essendon and Port Adelaide do battle on Saturday night at the MCG. The Bombers $2.45, the Power $1.52, the line 11.5, over under 166.5. This is the Power's last trip to the MCG for 2023 before the final start.
Yeah, and it'll be a crucial lead up for them, with the potential of playing finals and maybe even reaching the grand final. They won't want to waste this opportunity at the G. Should get a pretty good crowd, standalone Saturday night. So imagine that the supporters will turn out for the Bombers, who need to bounce back after being disgraceful last week. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Geez, on form, Port look a decent bet here. The betting started at 8. It's gone to 11. So either the punters or the bookies have started to push Port's way. Head-to-head, they've won their last 6 over Essendon, so they definitely got the advantage there, and Port have actually covered their last 6 matches as well. So their form, obviously, have won 11 straight, is outstanding, where Essendon are very up and down. The one factor here is Port are coming off the bye, so we've mentioned the stat with that, but yeah, it should be a good match here. I think it's a high average as well in terms of their head-to-head. They average 180 points between these two teams, so the total's about right. I couldn't come into a bet, so yeah, probably just shading Port and maybe shading the over, but not confident for a bet.
I think Port might thrash them, but anyway, that's between you and I. The Sea Eagles and the Roosters on Sunday afternoon. The Sea Eagles $1.80, the Roosters $2. The line is even, and the over/under 43.5. This should be okay, I reckon. Toprope.
Interesting game. The Sea Eagles have been off the map in this one. They were started 2.5-point dogs and their favourites. Probably coming to the Roosters twice, but they're playing very ordinary football, some very ordinary football. So no faith in me. They were right with the Chooks, but I think there is a bet here. And again, we're playing the over. Now they're a huge over team in a few situations. 9 out of 10 at Brook fail, 28 no after loss, but most importantly, 28 and 15 with no turbo. They struggle with their defence, no top work. Over 24 and 7 now, and the Roosters are off conceding 20+. We're playing the over here pretty confident.
As we whip through the rest of the games for round 18, the Sharks $1.10, the Dragons $7, the line minus 18.5, over under 45.5. That kicks off the round on Thursday night. Top rope.
Yeah, teams who score 40 plus against teams who concede 40 plus cover at just 36%. I know it's unattractive, I know it's unappealing, but the Dragons plus 18.5 has to be the bet in this one.
As we look at the early game on Friday night, looks an absolute beauty over at Mount Smart Stadium. The Warriors $1.70, the Rabbitohs $2.15, the line minus 2.5, over under 42.5.
Yeah, absolute rip. A couple of strong historical angles here. Souths have won 7 straight, 13-14 against the Warriors. I know it's a bit of a worry, but Souths can be a bit there. But the over is 100% a bet. 18-4, including the last 12 since these two played. Last 3, 58, 62, 82 have been the totals. The Warriors 21-14 over at night. The Bunnies have gone over 7 straight when they're off a 20 plus loss. So loving the over in this one.
Oh, I like it when you talk stats about the Bunnies. Saturday afternoon, early game. The Raiders $1.63, the Titans $2.25, the line minus 3.5, over under 45.5.
Difficult game. Historically, you want to lay Canberra as a favourite. They've covered just 7 of their last 28 as a favourite for win. The 16 of the last 50 is a favourite for stock. Can't make a real good case for the Titans here, and the Raiders have won and covered 7 of the last 80 for the Titans. If you're only a bet, I'd be maybe smaller Titans head-to-head, but yeah, no probably is.
Cowboys and the Tigers do a battle on Saturday at 5:30. The Cowboys $1.16, the Tigers $5.30, the line minus 16.5, over under 45.5.
Yeah, right on the Cowboys here. There is some form over the last month that, considering the 66 of the Tigers a month ago, really kind of sparked them into a season turnaround. They've covered 12 of their last 17 when favored by more than a converted try. They've covered 9 of their last 13. That's spotting at Queensland Country Road Stadium. Tigers, they're getting very short on troops now. Luke Brooks is departing, but he's still playing Dane Laurie in the halves now with the Cowboys. I think they've got to be a better home in their current form.
Bulldogs and the Knights round out of the round. The Bulldogs $2.15, the Knights $1.70, the line 2.5, over under 42.5.
Get your money in the middle for the under on this one. 2 balanced sides. Two sides under a lot of pressure. Since 2008, the under is hit in 20 of 24 Bulldogs and Knights game. Average final combined score 34 points. The Bulldogs, huge under team in day games, huge under team off a bad defensive performance. The Knights are huge under team as a road favourite. This has got all the hallmarks of an 18-12, 20-18 game. It's not going over the total. Be back in the under and back in the up.
As we look at the rest of the games for AFL round 16, Adelaide and North Melbourne, the Crows $1.09, the Kangaroos $6.75, the line minus 41.5, over under 177.5.
Yeah, very lopsided game. Adelaide 13-0 v Kangaroos at home here. They've won their last 4 straight against the Kangaroos. I think he's leading the Coleman and might be in for a big day. I'm pretty keen on the over total here. Both teams over 9-5, so over total for me. I'll leave the line.
Western Bulldogs and Fremantle Saturday afternoon at the Dome. The Dogs $1.46, the Dockers $2.62, the line 12.5, over under 164.5.
Yeah, I think the outsiders, both teams up and down. I'm not sure where the Bulldogs are at. They've only beaten the Kangaroos in the last month. Dockers have been good and bad as well. But yeah, I think the value lies in the plus here. Maybe just shade the over total.
Really looking forward to this one. It's the Suns at $2.22, the Magpies $1.65, the line 6.5, over under 163.5.
Yeah, this game's in Cairns, OB, Saturday afternoon. All the money's been for the Suns. Collingwood opened 12s, now down to 6. Can't really fathom as to why, so I'm just going to wait patiently here. I think the Collingwood will end up being a great bet in this game. I think all the stats point to them. 9-3 record against Gold Coast, Collingwood for me.
Hawthorn and Carlton do battle on Sunday afternoon at the MCG. The Hawks $3.15, the Blues $1.33, the line 18.5, over under 164.5.
Yeah, ordinary game, trying to hide this one on the Sunday. The money's all for Carlton so far, 16 up to 18, so I think it'll shake that way. No Sicily for Hawthorn. Their defence looks too much for Carlton's forwards. I think Carlton might feast on this one.
Melbourne and GWS do battle in Alice Springs, the home of football. Only good people are born in Alice Springs, but we won't digress. The Demons $1.32, the GWS Giants $3.25, the line minus 9.5, over under 163.5.
Yeah, interesting. The Giants aren't going that badly. All the money's been from Melbourne opened as big as 26 in this game, so it's moved more than a goal down to the Giants. Chance for some weather around as well. So Melbourne been in a lot of under games. Their last 6 have been in the under games. So being tight, I think GWS present the value here at the plus.
The Eagles coming off their big shellacking are at $9.75 and the Saints are at $1.04. The line is 50.5, over under 174.5.
Yeah, leave me out of this match. I'll be packing up early on the weekend. Won't be getting involved in this game. I've left the West Coast games alone. So, yeah, they've lost. The stats are what they are with West Coast. They've lost 12 straight all over. 40 points. They've lost 4 by more than 100. So, yeah, I'm not going to tip a favourite like St Kilda on the road at 50 either. So I will be unfortunately having to watch it, but won't get an investment from me.
And a reminder that the GGOA is located in the littlebirdie.live shop for your NRL betting action for $33 a week, and the AFL Stings are still available for $25 a week in the Little Birdie live shop as well for your AFL betting action. As we say, thank you to you, Toprope, looking fresh and splendid as always.
Yeah, look, I was surprised I could afford a haircut after the last week's effort on the GGOA, but we got there. We started on the week, fresh as a daisy, and ready to find some winners. So big weekend of sport.
Beautiful. Thank you, Toprope and MG. As always, sleep is optional this weekend. A great feast of sport again.
Yes, off to the see the Storm on Friday night as well. So got invited a few free beers. So, yeah, going to where Toprope doesn't like the dome, but, yeah, be in the Medallion Club there and hopefully see a Storm victory.
Beautiful. That's a wrap for this week's Thursday Lines. Thanks to MG and Toprope. Thanks to the listeners. You can follow us on YouTube, find us in the Apple Store, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, wherever you listen to all your good podcasts. Follow at Little Birdie TV on Twitter and Instagram. Remember, all your footy betting action can be found at topsport.com.au. Join us next week. Punt well, punt responsibly, and have a great weekend, punters.